Hello, folks. This is Gary Gunn. I got another showcase event here for you. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Paula Dillner. And I met her a long time ago in the automotive repair business. And she has graduated from that, sold her business, and now she's doing other things. And Paula, I just asked you for a few minutes here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you instead of me trying to tell them about you? And so they'll get a good feel of who you are and about what you do. So Paula, you got the mic.
Okay, thank you, Gary, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Paula Dillner. My husband, Jerry, and I owned an auto service center in Central Missouri for over 20 years. Then in 2019, we sold our automotive service business and did other ventures. Now I devote my time to being a grandmother, which is my most important job. I manage our rental property, and then Jerry and I do some business and real estate sales. And if that doesn't keep me busy enough, I work on we have a farm, so that's always plenty to do.
Ooh, yeah, the farm's a full-time job.
Yeah, I'm always busy, always finding something to do.
Yeah. And in this preparation for this interview, you were telling me about some shop owners that contacted you to want to sell their business.
Yes.
And I know you've done some of that business brokering for a couple of times. And what was the biggest stumbling block for those shop owners? These were automotive shop owners now, folks.
Yes, I have. It's really sad to me because I've had about 3 or 4 automotive shops that have come to me and Jerry, and they're wanting to sell their business and want us to give a valuation of their business. But so I get all the information, and then because of their lack of keeping their books and in the proper order, their business is not sellable. They might have, some of these I know are good businesses, and the owner, he's working really, really hard, and he is taking cash out of his business maybe, or he has too many hobbies going out of his business. So he doesn't really want to show a profit on his business because he doesn't want to pay taxes. But then when he goes to sell his business, it doesn't have value because nobody wants to buy a business that they can't prove the numbers.
Right.
So it's very important for yourself, where you know how to manage your business and make more profit for yourself, but for the IRS. But then whenever you have your exit plan, you need to have a good set of books for you have something to sell. Because when they look at your business, come in your business and look, they're going to look at your numbers, and your numbers are important.
Yeah. So I that's not part of what we were here to talk about, but I thought that story was so important, and I hope everybody that heard that listens to it.
Right.
Because we've all experienced that. We've both seen that, and you've seen it. I've seen it. They just have too many things draining the tank, and so I don't pay any taxes, but it really messes up the valuation of it later on.
Well, and if the owner of the business, if he is a technician, that is great. But there's plenty of help out there to get someone to help you keep good books, or someone to teach you. So don't be scared of the computer. Don't be scared of the numbers. Just dig in there and do it right.
Yeah, just do it. Right. Just get it right.
Yeah.
Get it right. Yeah, and what we normally do in these interviews is we talk about 3 Ps. And the Ps are the people, the process, and the profits. And so, Paula, I know that you've had plenty of people experience. This is not customers walking through the door. There's plenty of those experiences, right? Yeah. These are the people that you have hired and trained. And what are some of the things, if you were talking to another shop owner about that, and he says, Paula, how do you find the right people? What experiences have you had? So let's share 2 or 3 things about the people side of this business.
I love people, but having a relationship with employees is the hardest relationship I've ever had. Employees, they come, you're hiring somebody first, you want a good attitude, and you can teach them a skill. But even when they come with a good attitude, you need them to be honest and not steal. But in that baggage they come when they walk in your door, they bring their whole they bring their whole family with them, and you don't
Okay.
always realize you're hiring the whole family, because if the
You
wife's
are.
not working, the husband has to take over the whole load. If they have children that are sick all the time, that affects your
Hmm.
business. So hiring the right person with the right work ethics and being reliable, especially nowadays, people
Yeah.
are not as reliable as they should be. Um,
Sure.
and I think probably the most important thing you can do for your person that you hire after you got him hired is praise. If you do,
Okay.
you need to praise them every morning, every afternoon, even if they really don't deserve praise that day. You need to
Okay.
find something to praise them for, because
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
praise your guys, they're gonna do so much more for you. And
Yeah.
I think that's just important in your relationship of hiring them and keeping everybody happy, is good attitude and praise them.
Yeah. You've heard this saying, Paula, it's either 10 good things about somebody, praise them, and then you can correct them. But if you're always correcting them and the praises aren't there, it doesn't work.
No, no. And there's
So
any business, but in the automotive business, there's enough things that go wrong that you
sure.
need to do an extra job of praising them.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. We just don't do enough of that.
We don't do enough about that. No, I tell
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
employees, it has to, when I hire you, it has to be a win for you. You need to make good money and support your family, but it has to be a win for me as the business, but it also has to be a three-way win, because the customer has to have a win too. So it needs
Yeah.
to be a win-win-win, you, the customer, and the business.
Yeah. And you don't always feel like you're winning, do you?
No, no.
No.
Sometimes you feel like you're drowning.
Yeah. Don't you just love it when someone says, Paula, I love you, man. I'll never leave you.
But
You know, I'll work for you the rest of my life. And what's probably going to happen to that guy?
yeah,
He's leaving.
he's
He's
leaving.
kind of telling you I'm leaving, right?
He is telling you he's leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. And it's very interesting. I've had that happen to me, you know.
and then they always have to make it really bad. They have to make even if you treat them well, but they have to make a reason for them in their mind that you're going to leave. So they have to make it
Yeah.
bad right at the end, for they have justify in their mind that it's okay for them to leave.
Yeah, that's right. It's that parting shot or whatever it is, you know.
I've had a lot of good employees, but as long as they were bettering themselves and they were going someplace and doing something better and better in their life and their family's life,
Sure.
I was fine with that. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you always
Absolutely.
want people to do what's best for themselves and their families.
It's hard to wish them well when you really want to keep them.
Yes, very hard.
It's
And
hard to send them out. It's hard to send them out, isn't it?
probably one of my faults is I want to be a mother to all my employees.
Okay. All right.
So that's good and bad, but I wanted to protect them and, help them.
Yeah.
And so when they did leave, and it was hard. It was hard.
Oh, it is. Yeah. And the longer they work for you, it just kind of feels like one of your children, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Or an appendage of your body. It's one of your arms and one of your legs, you know, and yeah, you get attached. You get attached to them.
I get very attached. I spent many nights crying and worrying.
Oh yeah.
What they're
Yeah.
gonna do. But it's all part of the journey, and it's part of their journey. And if you had a few good years with them and you've helped them along and they helped you,
Yeah.
been good. It's been successful.
One guy said, Gary, he says, you know what? I've never hired anybody that stayed with me for life. And I said, they won't.
Well,
They won't. That's not going to happen.
no,
You're not. They're. You don't own them.
no,
You
you
know,
don't.
we don't own Joe and Fred. We don't own those people.
But the best
You know?
part is when you have employees and they come back. I fired several guys, but there's no person I've ever fired that has not came back and gave me a hug. It might have taken me a year or two later, but
Oh,
I got a
interesting.
hug from every guy that I've ever fired.
That's a good time. That's
Yeah.
a good feeling to get that. Yeah, it is. Because it hurts to fire them also.
Oh, very much so.
It hurts just as much to lose them as it does to fire them, because
Yeah.
you're losing them and then it's not fun. It's
Yeah. Well, you always don't have your bench ready to hire somebody when that time happens, when you need to get rid of them.
So anything else on the people side? I think you shared some beautiful things there, Paula.
No, I think as long as they're committed and they're enthusiastic and reliable and hardworking, honest, the list can go on and on. You'll find
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's hard to really, a friend of mine said, he says, when you hire somebody and you see them drive in a parking lot, you see them like they go open the trunk and bring all their baggage in. Okay. And then you really find out who you hired.
Right.
Because no matter what you do, you're only going to be 60% maybe right. 40% you miss.
Well, and we all have baggage, but they have to, for employees and yourself, you have to hang your baggage at the door.
Yes.
You need to have the hooks for and put their baggage on before they come in the door, and then walk in and it's time to work.
Yeah. Hey, leave your baggage in the car, leave it out there. Yeah, so to speak. So we know, and we've talked about this many times, Paula, is that, systems, processes run the business. Right. Now, whether the systems are written or unwritten, they're still processes, aren't they?
Yes.
Or they're routines, or they're the way you answer the phone, the way you do this, the way you do that. So what have you found on the process side or the system side that you would like to share?
Well, I think everybody likes rules and structure, and even kids, employees, everybody. So if you have a good set of rules and structure, guidelines, processes in place, that your employees and yourself, you can just achieve more. And then when you have those rules in place, they know what you expect. Okay. And I think communication to that is the key. You need to communicate what your rules are. But I tried to have a weekly meeting where we could have communication with employees. And sometimes I thought, well, I don't have very much to talk about. But it's those times we didn't have much to talk about. It's probably our most rewarding meeting, because we got everybody back on the same track. Sometimes everybody was on different tracks, and we had a meeting. We got everybody back on the same track, and so everybody was fighting for the same goals. And I think that's very important. So they, you knew what the rules were, you knew what they were, and you could remind them at the meeting, but they all knew your same goals.
Yeah, it's interesting where you called the processes kind of rules of the game, right?
Right.
It's like a Monopoly game. There are certain rules in Monopoly, right?
Right.
Or there's certain rules in checkers or whatever game you're playing. So y'all had your rules of your business.
And I think having these staff meetings, people, you have to make them fun, for they want to come. It doesn't hurt any business owner to spend $50 at McDonald's and bring them a sausage biscuit, or get a free hat from Napa, and have them guess how many tickets you did that week or something. But if you make it fun for the employees and make it worthwhile, because they'll do anything for a free hat or something, make it worthwhile for them to come early. We had ours, before we opened, they would all come early to attend the meeting. But they always knew there was a prize for that day.
It didn't take much. It was something that they could carry out and say, hey, I won that prize. You didn't get one, right?
That's right. That's right.
People like contests, don't they?
They love contests.
They like a little contest. And when you have a contest, you have to make it achievable.
Yes.
Someone can win. Someone needs to win, or they all need to win, whatever you choose to do there. Yeah. In my business, one time I had this hallway, a little short hallway, and then I had everybody's name on a plaque over here on it. And it was one part of it was a Hall of Shame, and the other part was a Hall of Fame. Well, they would come in for the weekly meetings, and if their name was over on the Hall of Shame, because we moved it, they'd want to know, well, what did I do?
Right.
What did I do? So they never wanted to be on that other side of the hall.
Right.
So that was always a good way to, what do you mean you put my plaque over there? What do you mean? How did I get over there? What did I do? But you didn't have to bring it up then. They were asking, and that was a different set of scenarios.
And at these meetings, sometimes it's the little things that really bother employees, not the big things. It's a little thing that agitate them. And so at this meeting, they were able to voice that. And
Yeah.
I never thought of, and didn't amount to nothing. You know what I mean? Really. But
Yeah.
it was the way I said something, the way I laid something down, or something simple, but the way a parts was delivered. But if you knew what was bugging them, then you could make their life easier too.
Yeah. And we do things, or they do things that bug us, and they don't know it does.
Right.
And the bugs get bigger, or they start overtaking the place, and so anything else on processes that you'd like to share?
I think that's all.
Okay. Now here we're going to back down to this. We kind of went into that on the people trying to sell the shop, and there were no profits, and their bookkeeping was in bad shape. So from a profit standpoint, what did you learn along the road? What couple of things would you like to share?
I want to go back to the process. Sorry about that one time process.
Okay, no, that's perfectly fine.
The process is when you're getting ready to sell your business, you have that little notebook that some of us didn't fill out very well of all the processes of each thing. But when you get ready to go sell it, that is value in that book. So
okay.
If you don't have that book, that new owner, I was always nice to mine. He'd call me. I gave him my phone number, worked with him, but that was fine. But if I would have had that notebook filled out better, I could have made his life so much easier. And not just the processes, but my suppliers and all their information. Then also in that book, I needed to put down my service work people. Like if I had septic tank work done with them, the company for 5 years later, when they need repairs, they have someone, they know who put it in. So
wow, good information. Yes.
That's important. That's when you're doing it every day, it seems kind of nonsense. But if I would die or if I sell my business, it has lots of value.
Yeah. A friend of mine, a quick story on that. He sold 18 stores in one time. And he took $1 million out of those proceeds to keep his operations manual. That's how much valuable he thought it was.
Right.
They kept a copy, but he kept the copyrights to that operations manual. It was worth $1 million to him.
Right.
So now he could start up again, and he had everything ready to go. And he did. 5 years later, he started again. Okay. Yeah. So, but that's what it was worth to him.
Right.
You imagine a new buyer coming in, that how-to manual, that operations manual, that list of suppliers, the list of all this stuff is so valuable.
Yeah.
And this guy said it was worth $1 million. It could be worth 300, 400,000 to a one-shop operator.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is how you do it here. I got it all down right here.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of that stuff as owners that we learned by accident, sort of, we have it all stored in our head, and we don't write it on paper, and we should.
Yeah. So profitability, did you find that it was some of the keys to making your business as profitable as it was? And looking back, would you have done anything differently?
I would have paid myself first more. Sometimes,
okay. Yeah.
I tried to pay myself, first, but at the time you think, oh, we need this or we need that in the business, but you should always put yourself first, because you just should. And having paying yourself first, have an emergency fund, because you never know when a lift or something's going to break. That's very important to have your emergency fund, for you don't have to go out and borrow money when something breaks. And just having the good set of books. And I do know whenever you go to sell your business, there's a lot of you don't want to pay taxes. Nobody wants to pay taxes, but there's a lot of options out there that can save you money. You can do a 1031 exchange and exchange it for some other real estate or something where you don't have to pay taxes. So don't just sell your business and get your check and run it to the bank before all that contract stuff happens. Closing date. Do some research how you can save some business tax money on your sale.
And you were mentioning that. Do you think that if someone doesn't own the property, they're sitting in the automotive shop and they're leasing it, that drives the value way down also, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes.
You know, the hard asset's not there, plus the new landlord, there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts going on there.
A lot of times landlords don't like change. And
Okay.
so when you give them the opportunity to change, that's what you're doing. You're giving
Yes.
the landlord opportunity to say, no, we don't want to rent it to you no more, or to that business. So then you have to move locations. And if you have a successful business, a lot of times you don't want to move locations because everybody knows where you are, and that's important.
Sure.
We did. We ended up buying several buildings, our neighborhood, a couple buildings, and it was a blessing for us to do that, to have those a couple of years later when we sold them off. But it was nice to have control as your business grew. You had more space, and it was just a good opportunity.
Yeah. So one last question. We talked about the 3 Ps. That was a great example about, what not to do before you sell your business, right? And what to do. That list is long. But if there was one thing that you would tell somebody, if they're in the automotive business today, and if they say, Paula, what would you do that would help me? What would be that thought? What would you do for them? What would you say to them? I'm looking for that golden nugget, looking for that golden nugget.
That's what I'm afraid of. What would I do or they could do? Manage.
Okay.
Keep track of your money, keep track of your employees. Your employees are just like some inventory. So if they're not booking time for the time that they're in your shop, that's inventory you're missing, money, profit you're missing.
Right. Yeah.
Keeping track of the details.
Okay.
I ran, and Jerry and I ran by the seat of our pants too much. And if we would have kept more track of the details, it could make a huge difference.
Yeah. And you were in there 20 years?
Yeah, 23.
Wow. That's a long time.
Oh, but I would do it
by your seat of your pants.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Also, there's people out there to help you grow your business. And when you're in business, you can kind of feel all alone because you feel like you can't talk to your friends. Well, they don't understand, and you don't want to share your information with your guy down the street. But there is business owners out there in different areas that you can share in groups that are confidential, and sharing your information, getting ideas from them can make a world of difference. Be different.
Yeah.
A profit and not a profit.
Yeah. Even getting to the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But Paula, thank you for your time and thank you for your wisdom today. I think we captured some really good points. And so we're going to kind of pull the curtain down on the showcase. And Paula, you have a great day. Thanks again for your time. And so we will see you again sometime in a Zoom, right?
Thanks, Gary.
All righty.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Well, folks, we just heard from Paula Dillner. You heard 20 years in business. She gave you some really great insight to what to do and what not to do from a financial standpoint, and stop running your businesses by the seat of your pants. Okay. Get help. Find somebody that can help you out. And I don't care who that is. You find somebody that you get along with and you have a rapport with, and they know what they're doing. So if you hire somebody to help you, don't hire somebody that never had any problems and work themselves through the problems. If they say everything's great, they never had a problem in their life, wrong coach. So thanks again, Paula, and thanks again for tuning in to Showcase. And please come back as often as you wish. Bye-bye.